Hello, everyone, and welcome to Our Ventura TV. I'm Sandra Siepak. On today's show, we're welcoming Antoinette Mann. She is the city clerk for the city of Ventura. Thank you so much for joining us, and welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me here today, Sandra.
Wonderful. I'd like you to tell us a little bit about the city clerk's office and all that you do for the people here in the city of Ventura.
Sure, I would be pleased to tell you a little bit about the city clerk's office. We manage and maintain all of our city council agendas and minutes, so the public is aware of what city council will be discussing and what they approved at city council meetings. We are the repository for all the official city records, so we handle all of the public records requests. I do some fun things like oaths of office. I take real pride in swearing in and giving the oaths of office for our new police officer and firemen. And one of the really important duties that I do is I am the local elections official for our local elections. So anybody that wants to run for city council will come see me, pull papers, turn them in, and I'm involved with all that process with running for city council.
Very good. That's nice to hear. That's a big role. Okay, so I understand we're going to talk about a few things here for the city. One of them is the new plans for redistricting. And I'd like to talk about those plans here in the city of Ventura. And why are we doing this? I think that's the most important question.
Okay, so I do want to make sure that the public realizes this is the first time that we have had to do redistricting. And the reason that we're doing it is back in 2017, we moved to city council districts. And the election code requires that once we've moved to city council districts, every 10 years, we utilize the census data to ensure that all of our districts are still well balanced. In 2017, we used our 2010 census data. So over the past 10 years, we're expecting changes within our population, and that's what redistricting will do. We'll take a look at our 7 existing districts and see, are they still balanced with our 2020 data? And if not, then we need to adjust them. And we are anticipating that we will need to adjust those boundaries. So therefore, like moving the lines on where District 1 starts and stops.
Okay, that's good. So in the area of redistricting, does this involve a lot of change? I mean, when you do this and when that change comes about, how long does the process take for redistricting?
So the process is we have to have it all finished by April 17th, 2022.
Okay.
So we have a strict deadline, and that's when we have to have our new maps and our new ordinance in effect. Between then, we are awaiting for the actual census data. With COVID, the census data hasn't been released with all the numbers to us yet.
Okay.
Some basic information just was released, but by October, we'll have all of the registered voter data in the system, and then the state will actually go through and adjust anybody that's incarcerated and move them to their appropriate home counties, or if they're ineligible to vote, removing them from the data so that we have accurate data when we're looking at that, when we look at redrawing those district boundaries.
Okay. Can you explain the criteria? Let's go over that for each of the redistricting plans that you have in place. Let's just say you now have to form a new redistrict area. What do you take into account, and what is the criteria involved for that?
Sure. When we look at districts as a whole, we always want to ensure that if there's a particular neighborhood, if there's a historical area, anything along those lines, when you think of like our community councils could be considered an area that we might not want to necessarily break apart. If we have our downtown, we may not want to break apart our downtown and put them in different areas. So we look at what is there a consensus with? Is there's any specific commonalities and boundaries, we want to maintain those when we look at dividing us up into the 7 different districts. And because we did move to districts recently, we did that in 2017. So we elected in 18 and then in 20, all of our districts. We did receive a lot of public input in 17, but at this point, we're also asking, is there any new data that you would like City Council and our demographer to consider when we're looking at these new maps?
Okay. So you did mention the public here. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about involvement and how the public can be more involved in the redistricting process. And if they can be more involved, what is the interest for people to take in that, and how can they be a part of it?
City Council has to have an additional 3 public hearings at our City Council meetings.
Okay.
Specifically on this topic. One change is the election code is dictating that it's a time-specific item on our agenda. Okay. So if we say that it's going to start at 6:30, we cannot start it before 6:30. And that's to allow the public to know really when is this topic going to be heard. Okay. I'm sure some individuals see sometimes at our City Council meetings, we might not get to something until 10:30 at night. In this case, the election code wants to ensure that the public can and will be able to participate. With COVID, we went to our virtual meetings, and now City Council is doing a hybrid meeting. So we have the ability throughout all these public hearings that we're going to have on the redistricting process, the public can come to City Hall. We do have limited seating, or they can attend virtually. And there will always be a WebEx URL on our posted agenda, so they can provide public comment on this stuff. But another key factor for public participation, our next public hearing on this topic will be October 18th. And at that meeting, our demographer will release our public drawing tools. So the public will be able to look at our existing 7 districts and redraw them to ensure that they're balanced and that we're taking into consideration any of these communities of interest that they want, making sure that we're not drawing districts that dilute or not consider any of minority represented within the city, and that we're not drawing any boundaries that would create specialization for maybe even a political party.
Right. So if there is an objection by anybody to the redistricting plans that you are putting in place, do you take that into account?
We do take that into account.
Okay.
So on our October 18th, we'll release our tools, and the public will have until December 10th to submit drawings for their maps. Okay. And the demographer, Sandra, will actually have 3 different formats. They'll be able to draw a map. Okay. So really a piece of paper, and they'll be able to take out and really draw. This is what I want for District 1, District 2. Okay. They have an Excel tool, so you'll be able to go in and look at census data and put the various census blocks into your districts, and then it will be balanced for you. Or they have a really sophisticated GIS tool that will allow you to, on a map, physically take with your mouse and draw your boundaries. And then it calculates both in the Excel and the GIS and make sure that those boundaries are balanced according to the election code. Very good.
If you can, please share the website and any contact information should the public want to be a part of the redistricting plans that you are putting forth, and to get more information on the city clerk's office, especially too, if there is some questions that people have or any other things that you think the viewers may be interested in.
Perfect. I would recommend that everybody save this new website address as a favorite. Okay. So we now have at the cityofventura.ca.gov/redistricting. And from that page, you'll be able to find the list of when our public hearings are. Once our public tools are there, they'll be available. Once you submit back your maps, you'll be able to see the map draft maps in order to voice your opinion on them and frequently asked questions. Now, we'll also have on that website, you can always contact the city clerk's office. My email is cityclerk@cityofventura.ca.gov, or you can call us at 805-658-4787.
Thank you so much for all the good information. I'm sure many of our viewers here in the city of Ventura are going to be extremely interested in the redistricting plans that you're putting forth. And hopefully we can get a lot of involvement from so many people here.
Thank you, Sandra.
Very good. Thank you, Antoinette Mann. She is the city clerk for the city of Ventura. We're very pleased that you joined us today and shared the information. And I want to thank all of you for joining us today on OurVentura. Thank you so much, everyone. See you next time. Bye.